Meet Phyllis. You could describe Phyllis as blue, round, solid, with a very smooth skin. You could say that blue is her color, round is her shape, and solid is her state of matter. She's not a liquid because she can hold her own shape. Her skin is smooth, and that would be her texture. Her skin is as smooth as the surface of a rubber. Color, shape, state of matter, and texture are the things that you can easily see with your eyes. Now, Phyllis also has a specific mass, volume, and density. Her mass is 50 grams. Her volume, the amount of space that she takes up, is 100 milliliters. Therefore, her density, the amount of mass in a volume, is 0.5 grams per milliliters. This means Phyllis can float on water. Yay! Now, Phyllis is very ductile, which means that she can be stretched into a thin wire. One way to help you remember the definition for ductility, imagine if you are trying to unroll a roll of duct tape, which direction you would go. You would try to roll it out horizontally. So ductility means the ability to stretch something into a thin wire. A good example of this is copper wire. Copper wire is very easy to stretch it out into a thin wire. One thing that Phyllis is not is that she is not malleable. She does not have malleability for her physical property. Well, what does this mean? This means that if I struck her head with this mallet over here, that she would not be turned into a thin sheet. Like if I took a mallet and struck a piece of aluminum, I get an aluminum sheet. But for Phyllis, she just remains who she is. Since she's made out of rubber, this mallet over here does not affect her at all. Meet Chemmy. While growing up, Chemmy noticed that whenever she was near a fire, that she would burst into flames. Chemmy's friends and family always knew that she had the ability to burn, which is one of Chemmy's chemical property. Her family and friends also noticed that when Chemmy comes across a lot of oxygen, her skin begins to break out into rust. Her skin always reacts with oxygen. So one of Chemmy's chemical property is reactivity with oxygen, which is to say that her skin can rust. Sometimes she's been known to make new substances. When she gets rained on by mysterious liquids, she completely changes color, or she produces something new, like a precipitate. Please keep in mind that these three things are just describing Chemmy's potential to burn, or to rust, or to make new substance. We have not observed these yet. We just know this from her past experiences. Remember Phyllis? Well, this story is a story about Phyllis's physical change. So Phyllis grew up, so she got bigger, and she started college. But she was under so much pressure that she started to melt. And then someone threw some yellow paint on her, and she turned green. All these three changes that Phyllis went through are called physical changes because Phyllis is still Phyllis. Phyllis got bigger when she grew up, and when she went to college, she was under so much pressure that she melted into a different state. But that doesn't mean that Phyllis stopped being Phyllis. Now, the tricky part comes when Phyllis has some paint thrown on her because the paint makes her change color. And you might be tempted to say that this is a chemical change for Chemmy, but it's not. What color do you expect to see when you mix yellow and blue? And the answer is green. So when you mix two colors and you get expected color that is new, then you can say this is a physical change. This happens because your eyes are seeing both the yellow and the blue. You did not make anything new because Phyllis is just Phyllis with yellow paint inside of her. Now let's talk about Chemmy. Chemmy also grew up and she went to college as well. And at first, she started to break out. Her skin was reacting with oxygen, so her skin began to break out into rust. After Chemmy graduated from college, she quickly got a job, but soon she was fired. She began to burn under all that heat, and her skin began to char, and she soon turned into ash. Chemmy turned into something that is totally different from her original state, and so now she is black and charred and has formed a new substance. So Chemmy has gone through a chemical change. You can say that Chemmy has gone through a chemical change because she is not the same person as she was before. When a chemical change occurs, you can say that it is the chemical property, those three things that we discussed before, the chemical property in action. So for example, flammability. If Chemmy is burning, then we're witnessing combustion. That is a chemical change. If she is rusting, then we're witnessing her reactivity with oxygen. She also changed color from red to black. This is an unexpected color change. Remember that fizzing or foaming are also signs that a chemical change has taken place. Until next time.